Everybody, welcome into the Live and Learn podcast. We are live here on Sunday, September 7th, following the 5:30 NFL games, following week one. It was an awesome day just to have football back. Thursday, Friday, college football yesterday. You had a full slate today. We still have an awesome Sunday night football game. And I said I was going to go live at 8:30. The games are done, so I'm going to go live now. Start up a little bit earlier. Still got energy, still fired up. But it was a really interesting day. There's some interesting results. But for me, more than anything, it was just football is back. You have that discussion. You're going to have days. You make picks. Some go well, some don't, of course. For me, same thing today. Some I was dead on about, some didn't go my way. But it was just awesome to have football on our televisions. And there's a lot of different ways I could start tonight because there were so many games and so many outcomes that were interesting. But I want to start with the game that's still technically ongoing. If you have it on your screen, it's Lions, Packers in Green Bay. It's currently 27-6, where the Packers are going to beat Detroit, a team they went 0-2 against last year. Green Bay gets some revenge. The game wasn't close. The game never felt close. The Packers took control from the jump and never gave it away. Last year, the Packers won 11 games, and yet they still never really felt threatening to me. They got to the playoffs, and they lost, and that was surprise to no one. What I watched today is a team that absolutely can contend for a Super Bowl. It's a long season, a long way to go. Ups and downs, peaks and valleys, of course, will happen. But if you just watch that team, you see just a fast football team. That's running back, that's receivers, their pass rush coming at you, snap after snap after snap. You're playing a whole game, the war of attrition. But I thought they were just looked extremely fast, whether it was Matthew Golden, Romeo Doubs, Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary. They were flying around the field. Jordan Love's decision-making was fast, precise, intelligent, correct, which it not always is. Josh Jacobs, fast in the run game. They just were a fast group that didn't make a whole lot of mistakes, which is hard to do when you were playing as fast as they were. But kudos to Green Bay. But you see Green Bay, a team that doesn't have half the money that Dallas does, a team that still plays in an old stadium, a team that technically doesn't have an owner, said, screw it. We're going to trade for Micah Parsons because we believe this team can win, and they absolutely can. And like I said, a long way to go. They could have 18 injuries, and that changes. But if I just look at one game, but I'm reviewing one game against the Lions, who won 14 games last year. 14 games, the Detroit Lions last year. They just scored a touchdown in garbage time, 27-13. They put up 6 points in this game when Green Bay was trying. 6 points. With Jared Goff, who was in the MVP conversation. Jahmyr Gibbs, one of the most talented. Amon-Ra St. Brown, love him. And it was an ass-whooping today. Not close. Two teams that opposite ends of the spectrum. Detroit looked lethargic. Slow. Like every pass play had to be behind the line of scrimmage. What is this, the Michigan football game last night? If you didn't watch the game, that reference won't make sense. If you did, you'll know exactly what it means, because Bryce Underwood couldn't throw down the field. But Detroit, it was, let's throw a screen. Let's throw behind the line of scrimmage. Toss runs. None of it worked. New offensive coordinator after week 1. Results that you give that the face I just made. Nothing particularly worked. Nothing was impressive about that performance. But Green Bay, if Jordan Love can play the way he did today, and their team is constructed the way, and they'll have injuries, but let's say 90% of the team that they have now. And Micah Parsons didn't play every snap. He was in and out. If he's playing every snap, that's different as well. Green Bay is as good as anybody in the NFC. Because they have all the components you want. Quarterback, offensive line, that I thought was really, really good today as well. Defensive line, that wreaked havoc. And competent, not elite. But if you look today, Green Bay not having a number 1 wide receiver was irrelevant. Jaden Reed caught a touchdown. Tucker Kraft caught a touchdown. They went to Matthew Golden. Romeo Doubs was all over the field. They distributed the ball. Everybody got touches. Like I said, they played fast. They played aggressive. They took chances. It wasn't a training wheels week 1 offense, which was you see a lot of in college, and I even saw some of it in the NFL today, including the Detroit Lions. Not training wheels. Let's go. Season starts. You've played preseason. Push the pace. We get to see Green Bay on Thursday night against the Washington Commanders. So, good Thursday night game. Start off the year. Physical, run game, fast, smart quarterback play. That's what you need. And Matt LaFleur called a really good game. Just a solid game from Matt LaFleur. Long way to go. Tough division. Many different things will happen, no doubt. However, I like what I saw. There was nothing that I didn't like in the performance from the Green Bay Packers. And because you have a short week and you play on Thursday, I would go with the snaps that you gave Micah Parsons tonight. In and out, he doesn't have to play all the time. When he's on the field, he can make something happen. Like he sacked Jared Goff late in the game. So you get those good moments, you get those pops. Social media clips where really it didn't have a huge impact on the game. But it was good. It had substance, fun. Detroit, week 1 was going to be tough because you're playing Green Bay. They just got Parsons. They feel great about themselves. You're on the road. You lost your defensive coordinator, who's with the Jets. You lost your passing game coordinator, who's with the Jets. You lost your offensive coordinator, who's the head coach of the Chicago Bears. And they lost 3 other coaches that were on the staff last year as well. New OC, new DC, new passing game coordinator, new quarterbacks coach. All of that's changed. So, does coaching matter? Yeah, it does. It matters more in football than it does in any other sport, I would argue, coaching. And this is not a referendum on Detroit. They won 14 games last year. It's going to be really hard to win. Well, scratch that. They're not going to win 14 games again. That doesn't mean they're not going to make the playoffs. That doesn't mean they're going to have an awful season. They're just not going to have as good a season as they did last year. Maybe they'll do better in the playoffs. They will not do better in the regular season. And if I'm wrong about that, we'll come back to this at a later date. I don't think I will be. But they looked lethargic, slow, painfully predictable. Like I said, how many times can you throw the same screen pass to the same side of the field and it not work, and yet you still want to do it? You saw later in the game, oh, there's Sam Laporta in the middle of the field. What an idea. Let's push the ball. Ugh, that first half, that was painful to watch them play offense. Got nothing. And credit the Green Bay defense, but also discredit to the offensive coordinator for sucking, for lack of a better term. Green Bay set the barometer in the NFC North. That can change. But they came out and made a statement. Division games are different. If you beat a team that's not in your division, okay, it's nice. But Green Bay beating Detroit, the Chargers beating the Chiefs, that gets my attention. Those are division, they mean more. In hockey equivalent, it's that 4-point game where you can beat an opponent. You get 2 points, they get none. That's a 4-point swing. That's what division games are to me. You play them twice a year. They're so important. And Green Bay looked ready. They looked fired up. And they got that feeling in Lambeau. Because I don't think last year they really, like I said, they got to the playoffs. Nobody thought they were going to win the playoffs, which they didn't. Nobody thought they were going to win a Super Bowl. If you did, you were a Packers fan and you were, I don't like to say stupid, but let's say stupid. And they went out and had a hapless performance and they went home. Nothing wrong with that. I don't think that'll happen to this team because they're better. Golden's going to be good. He played one game. Matthew Golden, Texas, wide receiver. Hook him. He'll be good. First game. Give him some time. He'll get better. They'll use him more. He's fast. Team's fast. He's expletive fast. So continue to develop and continue to use him. More and more things will happen. 100%. But of the weekend so far, most impressive win, number 1, Green Bay. Number 2 for me, and we'll pivot to this game, Friday night in Sao Paulo, it would be the Los Angeles Chargers. A team that I didn't have high hopes for this season. I still don't think they'll be a playoff team because one game does not change my opinion. But if I'm wrong, we will go back and look at it because that's something I do that other people don't, but on shows, which is fine. Run your show. But if I'm right, I'll talk about it. If I'm wrong, I'll talk about it. I didn't think the Chargers would beat the Chiefs, and they did. And really, it was a 27-20 game that felt a lot more decisive. Justin Herbert played one of the better games of his career, and that sounds hyperbolic, but he didn't make a mistake. Justin Herbert in that game played like Josh Allen, and there's hardly anybody you can give a bigger compliment to. He used his legs, used his physicality, throwing the ball accurately down the field. Quentin Johnson, former TCU receiver, had some big catches. They were using him, big chunk plays. Their running game with Omarion Hampton. But third, fourth quarter, they couldn't really run the ball. 3rd and 7, Justin Herbert, scramble, 8 yards, first down. Last drive of the game for them, 3rd and 6, dead to rights, nothing. Scramble, 7 yards, first down. Huge plays. Nut cutting time. It's on the quarterback to make the play. He did. And the Chargers won the game because Mahomes and the Chiefs offense started playing back end of the second quarter. Chargers are ready to go from snap. And the Chiefs looked rough. Rough. But even that, Chargers never beat the Chiefs. Ever. And they did. That's a big deal to me. Harbaugh, aggressive, going for it, pushing down the field. Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnson. Receivers that have gotten better, seemingly. Omarion Hampton, who played at North Carolina. Bruiser of a back. Tough, physical. Like him. Lot to like in that. Just watching the game, watching the tape of that game, you go, this team's pretty good. This team has a lot to look at and go, that's pretty solid. So kudos to the Chargers. And yeah, it's a neutral site. It's in Brazil. Weird Friday night game. And yet you go beat them. The Chiefs have been to 3 straight Super Bowls. They have been the benchmark. They have owned you in your division. You start the season 1-0. They start the season 0-1. Even that, psychologically, is a big deal. Plus, the Chiefs have the Eagles in week 2. We'll see. For Kansas City, Mahomes had 57 yards rushing, a rushing touchdown. And he was great back into the game. But Xavier Worthy has a dislocated shoulder, so he's hurt already. Travis looks banged up. He got banged up in the game. Their offensive line was questionable. Be nice here, Sunday evening. And yet they kept it to 7 points, although they were a 2.5-point favorite on the spread. So there's that. But they didn't impress me. Slow, lethargic. There's no explosivity in that offense. They couldn't run the ball other than their quarterback. He led their team in rushing. That's a problem. And their best receiver was Juju Smith-Schuster, who's bounced around the league. I'm not skies falling on the Chiefs because I have too much respect for Andy Reid. Mahomes is the best player in the sport. However, you lose to the Chargers, a game that on the schedule, 9 out of 10 people have as a win. And then in week 2, you got the Eagles, who on paper, on the field, on reputation, and on example, last year are better than the Kansas City Chiefs. So to overcome all that is going to be a tough task. And in all likelihood, they're not going to be the favorite in that game. I don't know the line yet. We'll do that podcast on Thursday. But I'm going to guess, and I believe that game's in Kansas City. I'm going to say Eagles minus 2.5, maybe Eagles minus 2, right in that range. Could be wrong, but I don't think the Chiefs will be a favorite in that game. I don't know how Vegas could make them the favorite in that game after losing neutral site to the Chargers and after getting destroyed by the Eagles in the Super Bowl last February. And their team isn't all that different, and neither is the Eagles, for that matter. I still think they win their division because the Broncos had trouble today, or they're still going with the Titans. The Titans aren't a good team. Chargers win. Broncos are going to get a win. Raiders win. My Raiders get a W in New England today. I think there's going to be 3 teams out of the division that make the playoffs. I think the Broncos, the Chiefs, and the Raiders all make the playoffs in that division. Because I think they're all good teams with good quarterbacks and smart coaches that know how to win in tough moments. So I'm not panicking on Kansas City, but that wasn't – I give a ton of credit to the Chargers because they were just better and Herbert was better than Mahomes just overall throughout that game. And the Chargers have better receivers than Kansas City, as do the Broncos, and as probably do the Raiders, quite honestly. But you start adding that up, you go, that's sounds kind of problematic. And you go, yeah, it kind of is. But can they overcome it? They have before. They got to a Super Bowl last year with a pretty bad roster, top to bottom. They'll probably be okay because they're Kansas City. Probably. Let's talk Raiders for a minute. They played the Patriots today in New England. The Raiders are one of my surprise teams to make the playoffs that nobody really had. And their over-under was at 7.5, I believe. So that's, took the over, obviously. And, the Raiders are going to be I think they can make the playoffs. It's very much, we'll see. They're going to be fun, though. If you're a fan of a team that has Geno Smith at quarterback, he might drive you insane sometimes, but it's also never going to be a boring experience. He will push the ball down the field, sometimes to the benefit, sometimes to the detriment of the team. He threw an interception in the second quarter that could have been crippling. Because the team opens with an opening drive touchdown, he's slinging the pill, and he's looking great. And then he goes out there and he throws a ball into traffic that shouldn't have been thrown, but it is, and there's like 3 Patriots around, and Hawkins gets the interception, and it leads to a touchdown the other way for the Patriots. And New England had a 10-7 lead at the half because Drake May, who I thought had a pretty good game overall, poised, love him to Hunter Henry. And they just have that connection. Pop Douglas, good little receiver. Speedy can make things happen. But New England in the second half, May threw a couple interceptions, one that led to an Ashton Jeanty touchdown. To me, they just kind of, it's as if the second half they decided to take a break. They just said, okay, we're done for the day. We put in a good effort in the first half. They were playing without Christian Rodriguez, probably their top defensive player. But offensively, to me, it was just a no-show in the second half. Nothing that was impressive. 10-7 at the half. You get a lead at home, right? You lose the game 20-13. 3 points. That's it. Home game in October. No elements. And you stink it up like that? Again, I like Drake May. I think he should use his legs more. I think they should push the ball down the field more because he is accurate and he's a big physical quarterback that can do a lot of creative different things. They didn't really do it. And again, it's a training wheels week 1. I disagree with that every time. because every game counts. Every game counts. Week 1 is no different from week 18. We just view it different because, it's only week 1. The Bengals winning today is pivotal because they lost week 1 last year and they missed the playoffs by 1 game. We'll get to them in a bit. We'll get to the kicker pandemic that continues to rot the NFL. Kickers, I can't fucking stand them. But passive and just no creativity, no nothing. Hoping that a run up the middle, this will help you. Where I think Drake may have more. I don't think he had a great second half. But I think he could have been better. I think they could have put him in a position to be better. And they didn't. But credit to Vegas. Pete Carroll, oldest head coach in NFL history, 73. Got his first win as a head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders today. Geno Smith, who I like, is going to give you a chance. At the worst he's going to do is give you a chance. Played his heart out today. And he's always going to have a stat line that you go, some good, some bad. Had an interception, got sacked 4 times, ran twice for 10 yards. So sometimes he hold the ball too long because he's hoping a big play. Yeah. But he threw the ball 34 times, completed 24 of them, 362 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. They didn't run the ball all that well today. Averaged 2.8 yards a carry, so that wasn't working. Credit to Mike Vrabel and that defense. But Geno worked. Brock Bowers, the awesome tight end, 5 for $103. Jacoby Myers, the former Patriot, who wanted a trade, who was awesome today, played like he was trying to get back in New England, 8 catches for 97 yards, including some huge ones on 3rd down. Trey Tucker, 2 for 54. He spread the ball around. Ashton Genty had his first career NFL touchdown. Nice rushing touchdown. He only had 2 yards a carry today. Didn't work, but they're going to continue to run the football. He's a good player. But Pete Carroll's teams, when they're at their best, they play good defense. Check today. They typically have a quarterback that maybe should be more afraid but plays like he isn't. Russell Wilson was a 4th-round pick, rookie, playing for the Seattle Seahawks. And he didn't play afraid. He ran the offense. Geno Smith's a hell of a lot older, been around the block. Jets, Giants, Seahawks, now with the Raiders. But he plays like a gunslinger. He throws the ball over the field. And I like his weapons. And I like his demeanor. And Vegas are going to have some games where they lose this year where it looks ugly, I think. Because that's just the way Geno is. I think we'll know a lot about Vegas in the next couple weeks. Next week, they play the Chargers on Monday Night Football. Home opener. They then go at Washington. Home to the Bears. And at the Colts. Not the easiest opening schedule for them. Going East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, West Coast, back East Coast. Kind of bullshit, honestly, for them. But good for Pete Carroll. 73, gets his first win. Geno Smith, cast off by the Seahawks, gets his first win as a member of the Raiders. Seattle former team of Geno Smith and Pete Carroll, lost today at home to San Francisco in a entertainingly poor played game. So many mistakes. I loved the game, though. It was phenomenal. So many mistakes. Some bad quarterback play on both sides. And a clutch play at the end by one Nick Bosa. For San Francisco, George Kittle got hurt. That's a big problem. Christian McCaffrey played. It's a good thing, obviously. They won the game on the road, divisional opponent. Check. Covered the spread. Damn them. Somebody might have said to take the Seahawks, and the Seahawks were about to cover, but that didn't happen, obviously. Brock Purdy, who's now getting paid mid-$40 million compared to $875,000, which was getting paid early in his career as Mr. Irrelevant, played a tad panicky today. He forced throws that I don't think he had to. And he has good receivers. Ricky Pearsall, who came out of Florida and everybody had high hopes for, but then he got shot before the season started last year. And you're worried about him. Obviously, he nearly could have died. He never really found his groove last year, neither did the team. He had 4 catches for 108 yards today. Looks really fit, really fast. He's going to be their go-to option with Ayuk injured for the first half of the year and Deebo Samuel getting traded to Washington. But San Francisco, they don't have as much depth. So if the injuries come, that's a problem. And then you got their kicking situation. Jake Moody, who was 74% on field goals last year, which is terrible, by the way. They're worse, but that's not good. He missed a 27-yard field goal today, which is less than an extra point. Hit it off the upright, a 27-yarder. And he had a field goal blocked in the third quarter. And yet they still won the game. Credit to San Francisco. But that's 4 points off the board. Sorry, 6 points off the board. I was thinking of another game with a mixed extra point. I was thinking of Cleveland. Another kicker I'm going to torch here in about a minute. Jake Moody kicked at Michigan. Was a really good college kicker. Wasn't good as his freshman season in the NFL. It's one game, but you got to make calls because this wasn't good last year. And you brought him back, and he's 0 for 2 to start the year on field goals. Second one's blocked. Say it's not his fault. Okay. You missed a 27-yarder. It's like missing a 1-foot putt. I mean, that can't happen. In a division game, when it's such a close margin, you can't have that mistake. And it nearly cost them. And they should have lost if not for Nick Bosa coming up with a strip sack with 30 seconds left in the game with Seattle on the San Francisco 16, winning 17-13. Two missed field goals, a George Kittle injury, and Brock Purdy threw 2 interceptions. Threw an incredible touchdown at the end of the game, back end of the end zone. But I saw he can get better because the throws. But both interceptions were horrible decisions that he just said, I have to try to force this, and he didn't have to. because I think he feels comfortable with Kittle because he's had Kittle forever. He feels good about Pearsall because Pearsall was just all over the place today. And that's about it. And probably McCaffrey. But again, McCaffrey, you don't want to give that many touches. I mean, McCaffrey today had 31 touches in a game that he was a game-time decision. 22 carries, 9 receptions. The instinct for Purdy was find McCaffrey, which I get. 9 catches for 73 yards. Those are all checkdowns. Juwan Jennings, 2 catches for 16. That's the next best wide receiver for yards on this team. Luke Farrell had 1 catch, tight end. Jake Tonjes had 3 catches, tight end. Kittle had 4, tight end. Juszczyk, 2 for 32, fullback. Pearsall, McCaffrey. Without Kittle, and you don't feel comfortable with anybody else, that could mean trouble for San Francisco. Because you don't have the depth, you don't have the weapons that you once had in the Bay Area. I credit them for winning this game because they shouldn't have. And Seattle, who, another team for me that couldn't get anything going offensively, 13 points at home is just unacceptable. And they started playing the game too late, in my opinion. Seattle also had a problem where Sam Darnold only would throw the ball to Jackson Smith-Njigba, who had 9 catches. Cooper Kupp, 2 catches, 15 yards. Elijah Arroyo, 1 catch, 7 yards. Kenneth Walker Jr. III, 3 catches for 4. That's it. Those are completions for Seattle. That's it. They threw the ball 23 times. They couldn't get sustained drives. Njigba fumbled once, which hurt them. Fumbled right after a missed field goal, blocked field goal. Sapped the momentum from the Seahawks. I still think Seattle can be a playoff team. I predicted they would be. I thought they'd win today's game, however, when you do that. But it's a weird division. Arizona beat New Orleans. We're not going to go into great depth about that game, but Arizona almost lost to New Orleans. New Orleans, who I believe with great certainty will have the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Because, well, they stink. And they don't have that much talent. And yet, New Orleans pushed them. New Orleans had the ball inside the 10 for 4 plays. They just couldn't score in the last 30 seconds. Credit to New Orleans, but also Arizona Cardinals, shame on you. To be in a close game with that team, I feel worse about Arizona than I feel good about New Orleans. A lot of these teams, I think it's getting, his first game for Darnold in Seattle. Purdy's been there, but you don't have Debo. You don't have some of these guys that you've had. They're not here anymore because they paid you. So you got to figure that out. And for San Francisco, you win that game on the road. Credit to you. Not easy. 12th man, all that jazz. Okay. Jake Moody's part of my kicker rant, but let's just bear with me just for a minute. Cincinnati, Cleveland. What a game this was. So I'll start off. I took Cleveland plus the points, which they covered. So I care about my picks. And when I give you recommendations, I want to be right so that if you do gamble on it, you're right. which they covered. So credit to us. And I got some wrong. We'll get to the Giants in a bit. This one I got right. Cleveland covered the spread. I thought Cleveland would win the game. You might say, why would Cleveland win a game against anybody, let alone Cincinnati? Well, Cincinnati had lost 3 straight home openers, or just season openers, because they were on the road, including to Cleveland 2 years ago. That's Cincinnati's thing. Start the season slow, find a way to lose a game, all that jazz. Today, it felt like that game the whole day. On defense, they might not have given up touchdowns, but they're giving up field goals. They're putting it in, like, Cleveland went on a 12-minute drive first quarter into the second quarter. Myles Garrett and that defense, Greg Newsome at the corner position was awesome today. So that defense came to play, kept them in the game. Joe Burrow frustrated, Jamar Chase frustrated. And then we get to this guy named Andre Smith, who kicked at Auburn. I remembered him. And missed extra point and missed field goal today for the Cleveland Browns. And the field goal was less than 40 yards. So that's not excusable to me. In particular, when it's a sunny day in Cleveland and it's not November yet. And, oh, by the way, they lost 17-16. And it gets worse. We'll get to that. Missed extra point, never acceptable to me. I'm not saying kicking's an easy job. I'm not going to be that arrogant. However, kickers would not be on the team if you didn't have a kicker. They would be, me. So it might be a tough job, but I think being an offensive lineman is a harder job because you have a 300-pound man running at you on every play. I think quarterback's harder. I think cornerback's harder. Every position that you actually have to do something, I think is more difficult than being a kicker. And I don't give a shit, it's crunch time, it's 4 seconds left, you got to make the kick. I still think every other position is harder. Just my opinion, but bear with me. You miss an extra point, it's the easiest thing. It's a 1-foot putt. Your offense just went down the field, scored a touchdown, found a way, and then you go and miss an extra point. 6 points instead of 7. That's a difference. Then you get stop after stop. 2:24 left on the clock. It's like 36 yards, and you miss it right. You would have went up 19-17. You would have had the lead on Cincinnati, who Cleveland stopped on the next drive, by the way. So they missed that field goal. Miss an extra point where they would have been up in that position. Cincinnati would have to go down the field to get a field goal to force overtime. If you make all of these, which they did. So you get a stop defense, Myles Garrett and the crew. Credit to them. Had a hell of a day. And then for the second time of the day, Joe Flacco throws a ball that is too low, gets deflected, and Battle intercepts it. Cincinnati escapes Cleveland with a Week 1 win that they did not deserve, but they got. Zach Taylor has to be so thankful because this team was ready to lose this game. Cleveland's going nowhere slowly. We know this. They'll have one of the worst records in the league, but they should have won this game, and I would be infuriated if I'm Kevin Stefanski. He called a solid game. I thought overall Joe Flacco played pretty good. But he threw low to receivers. They're trying to catch it. Deflects in the air. 2 interceptions on those plays. Kills you. And then you get a missed extra point and a missed field goal. Kills you. The Cleveland Browns it up. They are allergic to prosperity. They are allergic to success. And again, imagine if you had bet Cleveland and they didn't cover the spread, but they actually did in this game. But to me, these type of things, it's not, it's Cleveland. Like, this always happens in Cleveland. Always. It's systemic. It could be Joe Flacco. It could be Brandon Weeden. It could be anybody. Johnny Manziel, my guy. Any kicker they bring in doesn't seem to work. Jake Moody would be on the hot seat in San Francisco. This Andre Smoot, okay, he'd be cut today. You're done. You're done. You cost us the game. Period. If I'm Myles Garrett and I'm on that defense who kept Cincinnati, who averaged over 30 points per game last year, Joe Burrow, who had a phenomenal year, Jamar Chase over 1,500 receiving year. You keep that team to 17 points and you lose. I am demanding that kicker be put on a bus and sent somewhere that is not in Ohio. Get him out of the state. Get him out of my sight. Because he does not deserve to be on this team anymore. Because that defense won them the game. And kicking and a 40-year-old quarterback that's arm went low passes, fucked it up. Gotta be infuriating. Gotta be infuriating. So frustrating. And there's only so many kickers. I get it. Find somebody. Not him. Missed extra point and a missed field goal and you lose a game by 1 point. That's the game. That's the game. You can beat a division rival and stick it to them, and yet you don't because a kicker, tough position. And it's a tough position, but Pat McAfee telling me it's a tough position. He was a punter. That's as easy as it gets. That's a joke position, a punter. I hate kickers. I wish there was no kicking in football. Because kicking being involved in football makes you think that soccer could somehow be, and again, I don't hate soccer. I appreciate the beautiful game. Who doesn't love a 1-0 shootout? I see case even Seamus could have nailed it. Yes, absolutely. Yes, our friend Seamus probably could have, and he has negative athletic ability. And I love him to death. But he's built like Gumby. So it's just kicking, soccer, diving, weak, Nottingham Forest, who cares? Brentford. Ugh, gross. Who gives a shit? Poor Cleveland. Thank God thank God they covered the spread. Because that would have been the true cherry on top if they did not cover the spread today and also lost that way. But they should have won that game. And that's what I don't care if they win or lose, but it infuriates me when a team should win and they give it away because it's too damn hard in pro sports to win. It's so easy to lose. Cleveland could teach a masterclass in failure. Just like, good segue, the New York Jets. The New York Jets. 10-point lead, third quarter, against Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. 10-point lead. Justin Fields, one of my favorites, I thought had a hell of a day. And I'll talk about that in a bit. But Pittsburgh scores touchdown. It's going to happen. It's Aaron doing his thing. Jets returning the kickoff, poked out of their hands, recovered by Pittsburgh. One play later, Steelers score a touchdown. Beautiful throw by Aaron on a play action on a bootleg. And from then, Jets do get the lead back. Jets then hit a 60-yard field goal, a good kicker, from Chris Boswell. And the Jets lose 34-32. They should have won the game. Covered the spread, so there's some glory in that. To us gambling community, not the winning-losing community. The Jets. I was watching I was watching 6 games at once at one point, which I know sounds sickening, which it kind of is. But I was bouncing back and forth, and I wanted to see how the Colts and Dolphins game went. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But I get fixated on the Browns-Bengals game, so I'm really focused on that, and also the Jets game. So those are the games I was really dialed in for, more than all the rest, I would say. 2 o'clock window. And I'm watching, and I'm going, wow, Justin Fields is playing great. And he did play great, by the way. And Aaron played great. Aaron, 4 touchdown passes. First game as a Steeler. It's the first time in NFL history that a quarterback had 4 touchdown passes in back-to-back games for different teams. He had 4 touchdown passes for the Jets in his final game as a member of the Jets against the Dolphins last year. 4 touchdowns in his Steelers debut in a game against the Jets this year. He was sharp. I thought both quarterbacks played really well. Justin Fields was he wanted to win. You wanted to stick it to them. Don't blame him because they didn't give him a shot to play over Russell Wilson. Ugh. But Justin Fields looked like a real quarterback. He wasn't just a running back playing quarterback. 16 for 22, 218, 1 touchdown. Not airing it out by any means. Conservative. They ran the ball more than they threw it. But they also, as a team, ran the ball for over 6 yards a carry. So why wouldn't you? Breece Hall, hell of a day. 19 for $107. Justin Fields, 12 for 48. Who still ran the ball a ton. But Garrett Wilson, 7 for 95, 1 touchdown. He made some big plays. And he looked confident. And he looked just comfortable in the offense. It was the stupidity and mistakes around them that cost them the game. And credit to the Steelers and credit to Chris Boswell, an actual good kicker that can do it all. Probably a future Hall of Famer, Chris Boswell. 60-yard kick on the road, 50 seconds left, right down the middle, no doubt about it. Now, I get a big deal, but this game probably won't mean much because I don't think either team's going to make the playoffs. I don't root for teams. I do root for Justin Fields. I want him to play well. I'll openly admit that. My dad and I really like Justin Fields. I don't know why, but we kind of both like Justin Fields. I think he got a raw deal in Pittsburgh. I know we got a raw I got a raw deal in Chicago. I know we got a raw deal in Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson playing over him this stage. GMAB, give me a break. But the Jets should have won that game as well. And they didn't. Credit to Pittsburgh for taking it. But that's a tough one for the Jets. Steelers win on the road. A game they have to win if you look at their schedule. But Aaron looked comfortable. Steelers home to the Seahawks this upcoming Sunday, then at the Patriots, and then they go to London to play the Vikings. So some interesting games coming up for the Steelers. But Aaron, 4 touchdowns, spreading the ball around, was not conservative by any means. Seems to love Jaylen Warren, his running back, who's more athletic than most in the league. Good stuff there. New York Giants, Washington football team. I got this wrong. I thought the Giants would cover the spread. They never came close. They scored 6 points. Their offense was, what's the proper word? Feckless. And I think that the New York Giants are on this really tough decision of when do we put in the young quarterback who's more talented than the aging dinosaur. When do we do that? Because I think it's without question, no debate, that Jackson Dart, the rookie from Ole Miss, first-round pick, gives the Giants a better chance to win right now than Russell Wilson does. And to me, it's not fascinating at what the Giants are going to be this is because I think their schedule is so difficult that they're not going to be very good. And I told you that in the preview podcast. I thought they'd be feisty today because I still had my questions about Washington, and those remain. And we'll get to that. But I think what we see over the next couple of weeks will tell you the job security of Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen, the GM of the New York Giants. Because they're both in year 3. They haven't come close to making the playoffs in either of the first 2 years. They get rid of Danny Dimes. You draft Jackson Dart. You have a really good defensive front. But you're still not a great team, and you're probably the 4th best team in your division, and there's only 4 teams in each division, so that makes it quite difficult. So there's still a lot of question marks there. But if they feel they're going to be fired if they have an awful year, and they haven't been given that vote of security, even if it's behind closed doors, I think we will see Jackson Dart really quickly. I thought originally maybe it's – so I'll read out their stretch for you. At Cowboys next weekend, home Chiefs, home Chargers. I thought maybe week 4 at the New Orleans Saints could be a great first start for Jackson Dart. But in saying that, today, Russell Wilson went 17 for 37 for 168 yards. He got sacked twice, and he led the team in rushing. 8 for 44. Russell Wilson at his advanced age, running the football that often. That's not a good thing. Tyron Tracy, 10 carries for 24 yards, 2.4 a carry. Devin Singletary, 3 for 9, 3 yards a carry. Cam Scatterbo, 2 carries for -3. They couldn't run the football. Malik Neighbors had 12 targets, 5 catches. It's a good margin. And they just couldn't find Malik, and he's kind of their whole offense at this point. They were lucky to get 2 field goals, quite frankly. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but they were lucky to get 2 field goals. Russell's I think he's a great backup now. Lots of experience. But if you could play Jackson Dart, it gives you a better chance to win. But if they were given that vote saying you're here next year no matter what, we like you, we want you, Daboll, we want you to develop Jackson, then I think Russell's going to play for a number of weeks. Because you want him to come in when he's truly ready to go. He was the backup today ahead of Jameis. Jameis was the number 3 quarterback. We'll see, but that's the interesting thing for me. So we'll talk about it on the podcast. Like I said, going forward, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday podcasts. The whole football. Sunday, this time of night, 8:30, whenever the 5:30 games end, we go live. Tuesday, 7 o'clock. Thursday, 7 o'clock. Podcast. Thursday's pod will be about gambling and betting lines for the week. Tuesday, recap Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, all that fun stuff. And baseball and any other sports stories. But a storyline I'm going to follow and I'm interested in this week, and I want you guys to follow it as well. If the Giants decide to play Jackson Dart really early into the season, it tells me they are not secure about their job. Because while I think he gives them a better chance to win than Russell Wilson, I think the Giants are playing the long game. And with your schedule, regardless of who's at quarterback, you're probably losing a lot of games this year anyway. So if you lose to Russell, you keep Jackson Dart. He's your quarterback of the future, but you get better players around him. You get another top 4, top 5 pick in the draft. That sets you up for success long term. But it's a fascinating angle for me. Washington wins 21-6. I love Jaden Daniels. I don't love the rest of their team. And that's kind of the dilemma. I think he's great. I think he was awesome today. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the sport, and he's only his second year. He can use his legs. He can make plays on the run. But, I mean, they won 21-6 today, but it wasn't an impressive 21-6. Drops, lack of explosivity from the running back position. Defensively at that corner position, I think they can be had. Just Russell Wilson could never complete a pass to Malik Neighbors, like ever. And that's a problem because he's the best skill position player. If he could have, they could have won. They didn't. Washington will see more of them on Thursday Night Football against the Packers. That's a litmus test. Short week on the road. That's as tough as it gets. Okay. Typically, one game, 1 week should not scream panic meter. Typically. If I am the Miami Dolphins, I am hammering the panic meter. Hammering it. The Miami Dolphins played Indianapolis today. It was a 1.5 point spread, which is a pick 'em, basically. Because if you're a home team, you typically at least get 2.5, 3 points. If it's 1.5, they're like, okay, we think the Colts will win because they're at home and we'll give them a few points, but they really have no faith in that. The Indianapolis Colts crushed the Dolphins today, 33-8. I'm going to repeat that. 1.5 point spread, 33-8. Tua Tagovailoa threw 2 turnovers. He was strip sacked, so he had 3 turnovers just himself, Tua Tagovailoa. They didn't score a point until the fourth quarter. It was 30-0 at that point. And they were by far the biggest loser of the day. Embarrassing performance. Tua was benched. Zach Wilson played the back half of the fourth quarter. Where do you start with this? First, Tua got sacked 3 times. Every time he gets sacked, I think he's going to get really hurt. But he got sacked. That offensive line is already a problem. They look like they don't know what they're doing. Indy, just DeForest Buckner was everywhere in the middle, causing havoc. Tua, his claim to fame is accuracy. He was not 14 for 23. Not a good day. Not accurate. Tyreek Hill had 4 catches. He was a non-factor in the game. He was throwing a fit on the sideline. They were never in that game. Never. First drive, Tua throws an awful interception. Colts field goal. Getting some progress, forced fumble, leads to a Daniel Jones quarterback sneak touchdown. Daniel Jones, I thought was awesome today for the Indianapolis Colts. He was 22 for 29, 272, 1 touchdown. Ran the ball 7 times for 26 yards and had 2 rushing touchdowns. He wasn't afraid to push the ball. He threw a deep touchdown pass to Michael Pittman Jr., really nice catch. But he did throw the ball down the field. Pittman's still very good. Alec Pierce only had 1 catch, but it was for 36 yards, so a big play from Danny Dimes. They ran the football well. Around 4 yards a carry. Could be better, but it was good enough against the Dolphins. And they had 6 different ball carriers today. I love that. 8 guys had at least 1 catch. Love that. Spread it around. Pittman, Tyler Warren, we'll get to Alec Pierce, Jonathan Taylor, Adonai Mitchell, Mo Alley-Cox, and Josh Downs. 1 game for the Colts. I'm not going to be too hyperbolic, but I liked how Daniel Jones played. And if that's the offense they're running where it's bootlegs, he can use his legs. And the secret weapon is Tyler Warren. They got Tyler Warren with the 14th overall pick in the draft from Penn State. How he went 14th is beyond me. The Bears could have had him at 10. They took Colston Loveland, tight end on Michigan. I would have taken Tyler Warren. Debut, 7 catches for 76 yards. He also had a carry for 3 yards, which was on a 4th down, by the way. In college, he played tight end. He played snaps at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, offensive lineman, fullback. He does it all. Jack of all trades, Tyler Warren. 7 catches, 76 yards. He is the security blanket for Daniel Jones already, and he's a rookie. To me, it's irrelevant who the quarterback will be on the Colts. Tyler Warren will be good with any quarterback in the league. I thought the Colts would have a better record by the end of the year than Jacksonville. I still feel that way. Jacksonville beat Carolina today. Golf clap for you. The Colts, to me, can actually be a threatening team. Not threatening, but AFC South threatening. Win that division. Houston lost today to the Rams, where they only put up 3 field goals. It's a week-by-week thing, but Daniel Jones, the captain of that team, they paid him money to be the starter. He's their guy. They're not switching to Anthony Richardson anytime soon. Because he can play, and he knows the offense, and he's running it, and he looked confident doing it. Dolphins. Mike McDaniel said after the game, "I did my best, but it wasn't good enough." So he coached as hard as he could, I'm guessing, is what I read from that. But the Colts were just the better team. It's It's got a smell down there in Miami, and I thought from the beginning it had a smell. Peter Schrager, who I think smart on ESPN, smart guy, he was the only person I saw in the media to pick the Dolphins to make the playoffs, and I thought that was crazy. I could see this team just disintegrating quickly. Because it's not like the Colts came in with massive expectations and you get crushed 33-8. And your quarterback looks terrible. And nobody respects the coach. And Tyreek wasn't really involved in the offense. I don't know. It just doesn't look good to me. Tua is one of the worst quarterbacks today in the league of any of the games. Bryce Young, he be on that list. Bryce Young, 18 for 35, $154, 2 interceptions. And he fumbled. That's a Tua game, basically. Same game, just in Carolina. Russell Wilson was bad. Nobody was awful. The rest, CJ Stroud wasn't great they weren't aggressive in Houston. Part of the reason they lost that game, 14-9 on the road. Cam Ward's first start, not great, but he's a rookie first game in Denver. Got sacked 6 times. Lost a fumble. Only threw for 112 yards. But Bo Nix was bad as well. He had 3 turnovers himself. So there was some bad quarterback play around the league. Some really good stuff, some bad stuff. Week 1. That's going to happen. Other results, Buccaneers edge out the Falcons 23-20. Young-Ho Ko misses the game-tying field goal with 6 seconds left. Would have sent the game to overtime. He misses wide right. Buccaneers win on the road in the L in Atlanta. Big win for the Bucs. Emeka Egbuka, rookie wide receiver out of The Ohio State. 4 catches, 67 yards, 2 touchdowns. Baker loves him already. Baker threw for 3 touchdowns today. Wasn't as accurate as he usually is, but he was big when he had to be. Jags crushed the Panthers 26-10. Cardinals, I mentioned, escaped the Saints. Broncos edge the Titans 20-12. Rams edge out the Texans. And we got Ravens-Bills starting up in about 5 minutes. Ravens are 1.5-point favorites on the road. I like the Bills to win tonight at home. Home opener in Buffalo. They met last year in the playoffs in Buffalo. Buffalo won. They played last year in the regular season in Baltimore. Baltimore won big. It's a phenomenal game, worthy of Sunday Night Football, absolutely. But I like Buffalo to win and to cover. Obviously, you're getting them plus. You can get Buffalo at home plus points. I'm taking that all day long. Monday Night Football. Tomorrow, September 8th, Vikings at the Bears. Vikings 1.5-point favorites on the road. I would lay the points with the Vikings. Ben Johnson, Caleb, first game technically together. I think it'll take some time. Vikings win that game. Bears will get better as the year going. Bears, another team I have making the playoffs, but it'll be a little bit of a slow start. Also on the weekend, awesome Michigan-Oklahoma game last night. Got to go out, visit my friend Aaron, watch that. So that was a hell of a lot of fun. And fun game. But again, these coordinators, let them ride the bike without the training wheels. You're never going to win playing with training wheels on. They did that last night in Michigan. Pissed me off. Iowa State beat Iowa in Alassico. They talk. That's the what they call that series. see what else yesterday. LSU, Arizona, a couple ranked teams. Arizona State loses to Mississippi State. That was a big loss. Didn't see that one coming. Vanderbilt, my Vanderbilt Commodores, 44-20 W on the road as a 2-point dog at Virginia Tech. Credit to them. Army defeats Kansas State. Big upset there. There's another ranked game that South Florida defeats Florida. South Florida beat Boise State in week 1, beat Florida in week 2. Both those teams were ranked going into it. South Florida was not. They beat them both. They got the best resume in college football, period. A lot of blowouts because Tennessee plays East Tennessee State. Ohio State beat Grambling State 70-0. Oregon beats formerly decent competitive team Oklahoma State 69-3. Yeesh. Ole Miss survives Kentucky on the road. So some fun games. Tuesday podcast, 7 p.m. We'll recap tonight's Baltimore-Buffalo game. We'll recap Monday Night Football. We're going to talk baseball, what happened over the weekend, what's happening with the Blue Jays, and all that fun stuff. And we'll also start to look ahead to the NHL season, which training camps are opening next week. So we'll have a lot to look at there. We're doing this every Sunday after the games. So be ready, 8:30, whenever the games end. I'm going to go live for about an hour, 20 minutes. So come join. It's a lot of fun. I'll see you on Tuesday night. Until then, have a great rest of your evening. I'm your host, Noah Warren, and this is the Live and Learn podcast.